So, here is a letter which I got three days ago, and I will read also another one I got today. Request for recommendation letters, workshop, a definition, an intimate sharing of what you are more passionate about. Oh, I said to my wife, I am in trouble. I'm not passionate about this. I don't like to write recommendation letters. I hate it, especially later on. It's become a drag for me, a really monster in my sleep. I have to write so many recommendation letters lately that I'm thinking about. I'm going to do an A or A+. That's it. If you don't have A+, that's it. No, I don't have And so I had a conversation with my daughters, you know, my wife, all of us teachers, and we talked about, no, that's not right, because there will be some people with B and they will be really good agricultors or whatever, other kind of occupations, and you don't want to cut them off. I said, yes, I agree with that. You're absolutely right, but tell me a solution about this now. You know, I'm getting flooded. And you know, I stepped back and I thought, you know what? It's not true that I don't like to write recommendation letters. I don't like to write recommendation letters their own way. When I wrote recommendation letters to a dozen of my students that they did it the right way, I loved it. They didn't even have to come and ask me for a recommendation letter. I told them when they were about to leave, Terry is one of my head TAs right now in the chemistry building. He is a graduate student. He's taking his PhD in about a few weeks or whatever, months. I told him, Terry, whenever you read a recommendation letter, you know I will write the best for you. I'm here. And I had done that to about half a dozen or a dozen people. Even before they asked me, I said, and some of them, their time came, they asked me for a recommendation letter. They got one of the best recommendation letters. Some of them already in the depth of school. Some of them, they got good, beautiful internships in different schools. I don't mean that it's only my letter that did it, but I do believe that I had a good part in the decision of being accepted in the schools. If I wrote a very, very, very excellent letter, okay? And so I want you to see how you can go about achieving that kind of positive recommendation letter. Secure a positive recommendation letter. The first thing you need to ask yourself is really, I'll tell you a few things that you need to go about, but can't you write a beautiful positive letter of recommendation for yourself? Before you go to ask the professor, will you write a recommendation letter for me? Could you yourself write a beautiful positive recommendation letter for yourself? Because if you can't, the professor will not be able to do it, or if you just say, just for politeness, I will do it for you, it's not going to be a good one. And even if he fakes it for some reason, and does write a good recommendation letter for you, you know what's going to happen to you? I'll tell you what will happen to you. One of two things. One of two or three things will happen to you. Did I write the letter? Because I'm losing track now whether I've read it or not. For the fourth time I'm doing it. Did I talk about this? No. So here is the letter I got from one of my students. This person was one of my students about 4 years ago. I had him for, I think, for physical chemistry. Still here. Hello, Dr. Toupadakis. Yes, it was me who told you about the stories. I did not really ask them about the details, but the story goes as follows. A male friend got into medical school in 2007, period. He has said something about going to medical school because of family pressure or something in the neighborhood. It wasn't what he really liked. During medical school, the coursework became really heavy. I guess to the point he just didn't want to go on with it. Decided to drop out last year and is now back to college, taking some economic courses. That's the gist of what I heard. The other friend, well, is a friend of my friend. She got into pharmacy school last year. She could not keep up with the pharmacy course workload and ultimately failed the course. On top of that, one of her parents fell ill, and the stress took the toll on her and made her quit school after less than a year into school. I attached a picture of my dad and I in front of my dental school. The picture was taken around March for when he had just finished going. It is one of the schools I got into and ultimately decided to go here due to many recommendations from dentists, dad, and friends alike. Thanks, Alan. What does our letter tell you? I want to hear your ideas. What do you think about this letter? Why these two people dropped out of medical school? After so much labor, loans, sweat, struggle, hardship, rushing around for 4 years. They entered the medical school and then they dropped out? How come? How can that be? Why did they drop out? Anybody? I hear ideas. Why did they drop out? This is two examples through one of my students. Imagine how many are happening out there. And we do not know about that. But as long as I start being interested for the welfare of my students, not just their chemistry grades, I have a lot of information about these matters, which someday I hope, God willing, I'll be able to write a book about this. Student life. I would like to do that, but we'll see. Tell me, why did it happen to them? Anybody? Anybody volunteers? Not the same ones all the time. I want some other people. Tell me your first name when you start talking. Come on. Yes. Luis.
They couldn't handle the rigorous.
Why they could not handle the rigorous circumstances? Why? Why not?
Because they were not prepared.
Okay? Because they were not prepared. On what? They were not prepared and they could not handle the hardship, the difficult classes, the death of their parents or whatever. What? Why they couldn't handle it? Let me put another question. What would be the possibilities of being able to handle it, more possibilities to be able to handle it, right? Which way they should have done it to be able to have more possibilities, chances to really be able to make it? What would be the way to do it right?
They didn't do something right in their undergraduate years, which meaning, if they were struggling in their courses, they did not go to the instructors to ask for help, and they just, and in the end, the instructors just probably go to a recommendation letter, they got accepted, and they were like, oh my God, I can't handle this, because I was not prepared in the undergraduate years.
I think if they enter the medical school, I think they're prepared, technically and scientifically. I think there's something else missing. What is that? She's one of my students, maybe she knows already, because she's listening to me probably years now. What? Katie. Katie. Yes, I remember. Wow. Remember a name out of thousands of students. How can that be? Because there's some relationship, intimate relationship that Bill, I didn't even know it. Just from office hours. And the name came to my mind. That's a miracle. Out of 4,000 or 5,000 students in 5 years, and I remember Katie. That has to do something for what I'm telling you. The most important thing is to build up that intimate relationship. The professor will even remember your face and even your name. But I don't remember many names, almost nothing I remember. But you see, I recalled it. I'm not faking this. I just came out. Katie, they're Katie. It's Katie. Yes. And what would you say?
Students learn how to use their resources, like talk to teachers and find out, help they can get on campus.
You remember the question? Why these people dropped out of medical school? What was the main reason? No, because no one were prepared in chemistry and science and scientific thing, analyzing and synthesizing in their mind, technically. No, there's something else missing. What was missing?